Today on the Eurostep.
Warriors sweep LeBron out of Cleveland.
Dwayne Casey is Detroit bound.
And we continue our NBA draft previews. Hi, I'm Oisin Brown and this is the Eurostep on CRC. Today I'm joined by Killian Loftus.
Yeah.
And Alex Evans.
Fun fact, LeBron James has been swept in every finals. He hasn't had James Jones as a teammate.
Coincidence? I think not.
That's true. I'm like the Cavs. I'm gonna get swept.
Well, IT called it. The Warriors just swept Cleveland in the NBA Finals 2018. They nearly did it last year, but they did this time. What did you guys think of Game 4, Alex?
A pathetic effort from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like Stephen A. Smith out here. Yeah, not a whole lot that the Cavs can do. I think after Game 3 we saw it, they were really down in the water. There wasn't the same kind of vibe as there was last few years where they felt they had a chance at a comeback. Obviously when they came back from 3-1 the year after, they were down 3-0. They said we thought we were going to come back, we were down 3-1. Then they got it back to 3-1 before obviously losing to KD's big dagger, which gave the Warriors the championship. This year just wasn't the same. LeBron wasn't all there. We saw about his hand, he had a broken hand after punching a whiteboard after Game 1. He had that in a cast after. Not a great performance from LeBron. You know, you kind of expect him to do more. Only shooting 1-3 all game. Shooting 54%, not bad. And only 23 points. When LeBron scores 23 points, the Cavs are never going to win a game. 85 points in a finals game is... No matter your mood or what it is, even if you know you're going to lose, you've got to do more than that.
Yeah, I think it's just a case of LeBron kind of giving up, really. If he was down 3-0 to these Golden State Warriors, it's going to be tough to bring it back. He shot 13 field goals, one less than Rodney Hood, of all people. That kind of shows you that he might have been a bit less aggressive out there, knowing that his team was going to lose no matter what he did. He did have a decent game by his standards with 23 points, 8 assists and 7 rebounds, but it's not enough to get the Cavs anywhere near a victory against these Golden State Warriors. They were just brilliant as usual. Curry, amazing game, 37 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, I believe 3 steals and 3 blocks. An amazing all-around game for him.
And he shot more threes than LeBron did shots.
Also made as many as well. Same for Kevin Durant. Absolutely crazy how good he is at shooting threes.
It's very interesting seeing people's reactions to LeBron's hand injury. Some people saying, he's just saying it now as an excuse. Do you guys think that this is genuine, or if it's just a way of LeBron trying to hide from the fact that he just got swept?
I mean, anyone who's seen the picture of the
swollen hand.
I mean, come on,
it's big.
I don't know if it's broken, but it's swollen regardless.
We saw all season long. LeBron's 3-point shot this year was a lot better than it was before, and there was games even in the Boston series where he hit some big threes, little sidestep, step back threes to almost like a Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, demoralised the other team. He hasn't been doing that in the finals whatsoever. I mean, only shooting 1-3. It's not like LeBron, because he said it before himself in an interview. When his shot is going, when he's feeling his shot, it kind of opens up everything else and opens up his own game. So it is surprising for him not to be shooting, and it's obviously a direct result of his hand, I think.
Yeah, and like I was saying with the swollen thing, I don't think he purposefully, made his hand swollen just as an excuse for losing. So I don't really get where that's going, to be quite honest with you.
And he said the cast wasn't supposed to be on for the direct interview after they lost, so people wouldn't notice or whatever, and they just had to put it on.
And the news had already leaked by the time the conference came anyway, so there was nothing for him to hide. That obviously added to it as well. But it's very interesting looking at the LeBron's shot chart from Game 1 and the rest of the series. Outside of the paint, he shot 14 shots in Game 1. He shot 14 shots outside the paint in the rest of the series. He made 7 of those in Game 1. He made 4 in the rest of the series. I think that kind of said everything. And if you look at the highlights of those shots anyway in those clips, you can definitely see that he's shooting very gingerly, or he's pushing them onto his left hand. And he's a good shooter, but he's not going to be able to shoot those. Okay, you are such a child. And that's goodbye to our last viewer after that one, I think. But yeah, look, you have to, I suppose, take everything with the pinch of salt. If you're a Cleveland fan, this is an amazing Warriors team. I don't think anyone can deny that, and I think they fully deserve to win. But it's such a shame after what happened in Game 1. Had everything not gone so horribly wrong at the end of regulation in Game 1, maybe this could have been an entirely different series, Alex.
Yeah, especially after Game 1, LeBron isn't punching a whiteboard if they win the game, and certainly not going to go to the extent where he's going to break his hand. And if the Warriors can kind of get on a roll, LeBron have 4 or 5 games throughout the whole series where he drops 51, not a triple-double, nearly a triple-double. If he plays the way he did in Game 1 throughout the whole series, there's a good chance that they can muster up 4 games.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they would have won necessarily if they had won the Game 1 and obviously LeBron didn't get injured, but it would have definitely increased their chances. They could have taken it to a 5-6, even a 7-game series. LeBron is that kind of player, and he has respectable teammates, even if people don't think so. We've seen the guys like Kevin Love stepped up a little bit, and we don't need to talk about J.R. Smith. He's just gone at this point. I feel bad for him.
Henny God.
It's very interesting, though, over the last 2 games of the series anyway, to see Rodney Hood come back and play easily his best basketball in Cleveland, starting to look a bit more like the Rodney Hood of old. If somehow LeBron does stay in Cleveland, or whoever maybe takes his place with all that cap space, having a player of that caliber in Rodney Hood, maybe things are, they aren't looking as dim in Cleveland as they might have, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, he's a very good player, Rodney Hood. He was viewed as the kind of replacement for Gordon Hayward before Donovan Mitchell broke onto the scene. I definitely think he could average near enough 20 points per game on kind of his own team as one of the main, or the main scorer on a team, but I don't think that team would necessarily go anywhere. He's more of a third option on a good team, if that, who kind of stretch the floor and get you a bucket when you need it, but still a great player. He's a decent piece to build around, and even looking at free agents, they might want to play with a guy like Rodney Hood. He's a good player. There's no point in that. There's no point in just saying that's not true. Don't know what I'm saying.
The only problem I have with Rodney Hood is he always needs the ball in his hand to score. We saw throughout even this whole final series, it was give the ball to Hood in the corner on the wing, and he's got to do his own thing, make his own shot. He's not used to really playing off of the ball that much, and if he can learn to do that, that's because if you're kind of third or fourth option on a team, which is his best role, but you can't play off the ball, it's one of the more important things to do, especially if you're going to be paired up with other great players, which is likely what's going to happen with Rodney Hood. If he's to have any success in his career, he's got to learn to play off the ball.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest talking points of the series was whether or not Steph Curry would finally get his finals MVP. As we now know, he didn't. Once more, this one went to KD for him to achieve back-to-back MVPs. Only select few players have done that in the history of the league. Do you think it was the right call giving KD MVP?
Without a doubt.
Yeah, definitely.
He was the more consistent player throughout the whole series. We've said it time and time again, the most valuable player to the Warriors team is Steph Curry. But this finals, he had 2 fantastic games. Obviously, Game 4 kind of underlooked. Game 4, he had 37 points to close it out. And Game 2, where he went off for 9 threes. He played pretty well in Game 1 as well. But his Game 3 performance just completely dented all his stats. Because it's only over 4 games. If it's over a 7-game series, you can kind of afford to have one bad game in there. Your averages won't be too distorted. But he played so bad in Game 3 that all his averages were just completely distorted.
Yeah, without that Game 3 performance, I think he could have definitely won it. He'd have the stats advantage, and as we all know, he is the most valuable player to that team. So that could have definitely added to his kind of chances of winning the award. It was relatively close. I believe the voting was 7-4 in favour of Kevin Durant. You've seen a lot of people on social media saying Steph Curry should have won. I think it's more just people want him to win rather than he should have won. people want that on his resume because that's really the main knock on him right now. He's a 3-time champion but never won a Finals MVP. It doesn't look too great, and I think people more kind of want him to win Finals MVP than he actually deserves to win it.
Yeah, he was, statistically, he was comfortably behind KD. But I'm surprised that out of the 11 votes that he still did get 4. But unfortunately for Steph, there isn't the same narrative effect in the voting as there is in regular season MVP. Obviously, we've seen over the past few seasons that some players who have won MVP for the regular season may not have had statistical advantages over their nearest rivals. Certainly interesting though, looking at individual players' performances, and one we've been talking about off air anyway was the performance of JaVale McGee. Obviously he's a 2-time Shaqtin' MVP, but now
The only 2-time Shaqtin' MVP.
now he is
make the Shaqtin' a Fool Hall of Fame.
he is a back-to-back NBA champion, and he actually played fairly well in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, he started the last 3 games of the NBA Finals series, game 2, 3 and 4, and was absolutely brilliant for the Golden State Warriors. He had an outrageous offensive rating, leading the team for that stretch with 150, with a positive net rating of 66, just showing how much better the team was with him on the court. And even in those 3 games, he shot amazing as well, 14 for 17, nearly 83% from the field, very efficient. Most of them dunks at the rim, those kind of shots. They're the shots JaVale gets, but he put them in. Fair play to him. He played really well and definitely showed why he should be starting centre for the Warriors team over a guy like Kevon Looney, who was starting with the absence of Andre Iguodala due to injury.
Alex?
Yeah, Allen Iverson, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Steve Nash, Charles Barkley, Chris Paul, Reggie Miller, Vince Carter, Dominique Wilkins and Elgin Baylor. They're just some NBA players with less championships than JaVale McGee and Nick Young. And whatever about Nick Young, JaVale McGee deserves it. He's got so much stake over his NBA career, and people just view him as just a bad player. I've seen comments about him being the worst player in the league when he's not. He's a good athletic big man. He's a rim protector. He's so underrated. He can do, for the Warriors team, he fits so well. When you have Steph, Draymond, Durant, Thompson out there, you know, they can all space the floor, kind of play a 4 out, 1 in. JaVale McGee's like a perfect big man. Well, obviously a perfect big man to have in there would be an Anthony Davis, but JaVale McGee
We'll get onto that later.
We'll get onto that later, but JaVale McGee is kind of your best option in there that they have. He's so underrated and he just does wonders for that team. Obviously, rarely missing shots. He shot 75% from the field in game 4. Just when you can get them offensive rebounds off the threes and just put in an easy basket, they help.
A lot of the talk around the series from the Cleveland side was obviously about LeBron James's future. It doesn't look likely it doesn't look too likely that he will stay in Cleveland. It was certainly interesting to see a couple of stories coming out during the week. Firstly, Kevin Love saying that he wants to play the rest of his career with LeBron in Cleveland. I think the easiest way to answer that is, well, you can't have it both ways. You can play with LeBron or you can play in Cleveland. But I still think that there is a chance that he stays in Cleveland. I think out of the 7 or 8 teams that we listed in the previous episode, he's more likely to stay in Cleveland than go to a couple of those teams, I believe.
Definitely, people are kind of overestimating or underestimating the chance of him going to the Cavs. It's a pretty likely situation, in all fairness. Like we've seen over the last few weeks, Houston's become increasingly less likely over time with the news of Chris Paul demanding a max contract. And other places like New York, Boston aren't that realistic in terms of, he'd have to be traded to Boston. New York isn't a great team right now. So that really narrows it down and makes Cleveland even more likely. And it's not that bad of a situation if he can take them to the finals. But obviously, for his career, for his legacy, it'd be better if he went somewhere else and contended, like a San Antonio or somewhere like that.
Yeah, I think the only 3 teams that I really can see LeBron in is Cleveland, Los Angeles, San Antonio. these Boston and Sixers, I just can't see him going to another contending team in the East. Maybe if he went to a kind of lesser team in the East, like a Heat, and tried to team up with maybe Paul George, is the only way I can kind of see him. So I think it's either the Lakers or Spurs, realistically. The only reason I say the Spurs is because, you can never count out Greg Popovich, but that's probably least likely. There's a lot of news coming out about LeBron enrolling his kids in schools in Los Angeles, and their whole families in Los Angeles checking the place out. He obviously has a house in Los Angeles. But then again, Kobe said that for LeBron's legacy, he thinks it's just best for him to stay in Cleveland. And we saw this season that Dan Gilbert and Kobe Altman aren't afraid to make trades in that front office. They shifted the whole roster at the trade deadline, trying to make a run for LeBron to win a ring this year. Obviously, looking back, these trades might not have been the greatest. Maybe Isaiah, Dwayne Wade and Derrick Rose might have been able to do a bit more than what the supporting cast did in the finals and the playoffs. But they've shown that they're not afraid to make trades, and they want LeBron to be successful. They'll do anything it goes to build a team around LeBron because they know he only has a few years left.
I'm just going to read out this post from one of the favourite satirical sports pages on social media. They're not SportsCenter.
Legends.
And this one is LeBron has lots of intriguing possibilities. Obviously discussing each possible destination for him. If he goes to Houston, the greatest flop trio in NBA history. LA Lakers, LeBron and Kobe fans kill each other. OKC, LeBron and Westbrook kill each other. Cleveland, LeBron burns down Cleveland. Boston, Kyrie demands another trade away from him. Golden State, world's domination. Toronto, Drake can stop bandwagoning. San Antonio, LeBron won't have to also coach. Philadelphia gives Colangelo's Burners new material. LA Clippers, Austin Rivers gets tunnel back up. New York Knicks makes the playoffs and is GOAT. WNBA shows up, is already better than Jordan. MLB, same as WNBA. And I think the easiest way to talk about that is wow. But realistically, there are only a couple of destinations where LeBron might actually go. But then again, LeBron does have a tendency to surprise people, and he could end up playing in the NFL or something for all we know.
That'd be amazing to see. I'd actually start watching NFL at that point.
The New York Jets need a tight end.
Oh my god.
The real rich guy, Gary Vaynerchuk, he commented that. He's a good Jets fan. He's some entrepreneur, something rich or whatever, and he said...
Something rich.
Yeah, some rich guy, some entrepreneur, businessman. I think he owns some of the Jets. And he commented on one of these pages about where LeBron's going to go, and he said, at New York Jets, we need a tight end. Question mark.
And obviously we know that Gigi Smith-Schuster was also trying to bring LeBron to the Steelers mid-season, saying that if LeBron were to come to the NFL, he would instantly become the greatest athlete of all time. I think that would be a fair enough statement to make if he could dominate the NBA and then play reasonably well in the NFL, playing at two elite levels.
You never saw Bo Jackson play, so...
Whoa!
Dominated NFL and Major League Baseball.
Yeah, but this is LeBron, though.
You can't use that as an excuse for everything.
He can't play in the NFL. He's too soft.
Cavs and 7. Why? Because it's LeBron.
Just another story that came out of Cleveland over the past week was Dan Gilbert believes that if LeBron leaves, he can still make a championship team in Cleveland.
Fake news. Dan Gilbert is fake news.
God.
I think
maybe in 8 or 9 years you can build a championship team in Cleveland.
Not anytime soon.
No.
I feel like the only way he could do that was maybe try the process again.
Unless he get an absolute steal at 8. Like
DeAndre Ayton falls.
Like they get Kobe Bryant 2 at 8.
Will Kobe Bryant 2 have Battle Royale though?
What?
Have you not seen the memes? No.
No. Do you be looking at?
Man, this is sad. Moving on. I think that's enough about the NBA Finals for now. Dwayne Casey has gotten the job with the Detroit Pistons. Not really a surprise. His name had been thrown about the minute they fired Van Gundy. So, do you think this is the right appointment, Killian?
No one cares.
Yeah, woo, they're going to be in mediocrity for the next 5 years. Might make the playoffs.
They might make the playoffs now. That's about it.
Wow, nice. Half their salary cap is locked up, and Blake Griffin, who's
Bit injury prone. He's still a great player, but
he's better than average power forward.
better than average. It's a bit harsh.
Then you have Andre Drummond, who's a good rebounder.
Elite rebounder.
Reggie Jackson,
Solid point guard.
he was good.
Stanley Johnson is very... No, he's not that
He's
good.
trash.
Luke Kennard. Amazing
Luke
pick.
Kennard is next Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, amazing pick at number 12. One spot ahead of...
Donovan Mitchell.
That's all he's going to be remembered for, but...
Donovan Mitchell, who was drafted by the Denver Nuggets.
Oh.
Look how that turned out.
You know who
Oh,
else was
man.
drafted by the Denver Nuggets? Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, what
Now
can
you're going to tell me that Kobe Bryant wasn't drafted by the Lakers or something.
what's realistic for this Detroit Pistons team if they make a couple of acquisitions maybe over the summer?
If they can get a few decent role players around their front court, and if Stanley Johnson can continue to improve, he was better this year. If he can become an average small forward in the league, he's a pretty athletic guy. He can maybe turn that into some defense. Then you have a pretty scary front court. Reggie Jackson, maybe acquire another shooting guard, just someone who can shoot the ball, like space the floor. Reggie Jackson's not a bad playmaker. Then you might be looking in on the playoffs, and maybe you could make some noise, obviously, because the playoffs are mainly star power, and Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond are two of the better front court players in the league.
Yeah, they have a decent starting team. They don't have much depth, though. They, like you said, Reggie Jackson's a solid point guard. Blake Griffin, Andre Drummond, one of the better centre power forward duos in the league. And Stanley Johnson, if he can continue developing his jump shot, he'll be one of the best 3-and-D guys in the league one day. But aside from that, there's not much to go on. But, they might surprise us. No one thought the Pacers would make the playoffs this year. They got the 5th seed and made a good run at LeBron James in the first round. So you never know what might happen. And Dwayne Casey is a good coach. So I definitely think the playoffs is a realistic hope for the Pistons. 7, 8 seed. But I wouldn't be too surprised if they got higher.
But so much of their money is locked up, and Blake Griffin, who's on the Supermax, he was on 30 mil this year, and I believe Andre Drummond is on 20 plus million as well as that. So if you're going to add anyone else, you're not going to be left with a whole lot of depth.
Yeah, that Blake Griffin contract, it was certainly a big risk taking that at the time, and it doesn't look as if it has paid off. But obviously, if they can get a few good players for cheap, then they'll definitely be in with a chance of it making the playoffs. Maybe the high end of the away seeds for the first round. Moving on to another story, very interesting. Don't know if there's maybe a lot of realism behind it, but apparently the Golden State Warriors are gaining traction for a deal to sign Anthony Davis from the New Orleans Pelicans.
Oh God, please no.
A move that would probably mean that the NBA will continue not to be competitive. Maybe
For the next
become
12 years.
become even less competitive than it currently is for a long while after this. So Alex, talk to us. What is going to happen with this deal if it happens?
I think LeBron might as well just go to the Warriors and just sacrifice.
That's minimum.
If not, then I think Chris Paul, James Harden, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kristaps Porzingis, just every other star in the NBA is going to have to team up on another team. Take the salary, take the pay cuts. That's the only way. Just leave 28 teams in the dust rebuilding.
Yeah, the only real weakness of this Warriors team is their kind of big man situation. We were talking about JaVale McGee, solid player, but he's not incredible. Their kind of big man is Draymond Green. He's only 6'7", and Kevin Durant isn't much of a kind of big man, you're stereotypical. He's tall, but
if you can get an Anthony Davis type player,
exactly,
everyone in the NBA wants an Anthony Davis.
he's a generational player, absolute freak of a human being with his athleticism, length, and skill as well. You can't deny that. Easily the best power forward in the league, and even if you think he's a center, he's probably the best center in the league as well. So either way, best front court or best big man in the league, hands down. Having that in the Warriors is just terrifying. They're easily the best team of all time at that point.
Best starting five of all time. You got to assume that they gave up all their depth, and the whole season.
Still,
their starters are playing 30 plus minutes.
That's even still best starting team of all time. If you have 3 top 5 players and 2 more top 20 players, if not higher. Even still, best starting 5. That's still the best starting team.
At that point, Andre Iguodala is gone, Sean Livingston is gone, and the rest of the team is going to be vets mins.
Doesn't matter.
That kind of goes into my next question. To get Anthony Davis, what do the Warriors need to give up? Firstly, in a trade, and then who do they have to also move to? Contracts wise.
Everything, pretty much.
Well, just the trade, just for the trade itself. What do the Warriors need to give the New Orleans Pelicans to sign Anthony Davis?
Well, Anthony Davis is only on $22 million as of right now, so it's nothing outrageous contract wise. Hang on, live research.
Killian, just while we're waiting.
It's looking likely that they might. Well, there's a chance they might have to give up a guy like Klay Thompson or Draymond Green. They're both on about $17 million to kind of make the contract balance, unless they want to do kind of Kevin Garnett trade back in 2007, where they give up about 8 or 9 players for Anthony Davis. I wouldn't see that happening just to make the contracts balance. It's looking unlikely. It's more of a chance of a Klay Thompson or.
And it could be a lot easier, seeing as it's the off season and the majority of teams only have around 8 players under contract, and especially with these Warriors, they had so many vets.
Waiting.
Nick Young, Zaza Pachulia, David West, JaVale McGee, Omar Caspi, Kevon Looney, Patrick McCaw. None of them are under a contract for next year, so that's already about.
Come on, quick maths.
That's already about 15 to 16 million right there in guys that aren't coming. Well, that you're going to have to let go, presumably. So Kevin Durant has a player option, so maybe if he took even 2 million of a pay cut, and then still Andre Iguodala is on 16 million for next year, Sean Livingston's on another 8. If you give up Damian Jones, Jordan Bell, Quinn Cook, then you can keep Sean Livingston and Andre Iguodala. Obviously, the easy thing was bring back some of the guys that they had, and then if Andre Iguodala or Sean Livingston go, then you're going to have enough cap room there, even if Durant takes up that player option or takes about the same amount. So it's not that bad, the salary cap situation.
Yeah, but if you're looking
in
at
an ideal world, Durant has taken 2 to 3 million of a pay cut. You're not bringing back any of the guys that I mentioned, and you can get rid of Jordan Bell, Quinn Cook, Damian Jones for the next couple of years, and then you have your salary cap to sign AD as well.
Yeah, but
or to trade for AD.
But what are the Pelicans getting? There's nothing.
There's nothing there.
They're not getting anything. I don't see why they would take that trade when they could take someone else's for, when they get a lot more in return for what they're giving up.
Realistically, if you're looking at the New Orleans Pelicans and DeMarcus Cousins is a free agent this summer, it would make much more sense for the Warriors to sign DeMarcus Cousins in free agency rather than trade for Anthony Davis.
Yeah, and he's a great player as well, not on the level of Anthony Davis, but probably the second best big man in the league. Absolute freak of an athlete and a player. He'd again fit perfectly into the Warriors. They need that big man, that threat presence, and he could definitely be that guy. Like you said, he's a free agent. You were talking about all the salary they could free up this summer with all those guys that they have, losing their contracts. So it could definitely be a situation. Even if he takes a bit of a pay cut, he only takes 20-25 million to try and get a ring or two, then you definitely see it happening. It's not outrageous.
Real quick though, in 2021 and 2022, Steph Curry is on 45.78 mil.
That's nothing on his Under Armour deal, though. I think it's something like his Under Armour deal will make him a billionaire by 2023 or something.
No way.
I think so.
Damn.
It's absolutely crazy. Like I'm pretty sure he owns some of Under Armour as well. They gave it to him as a contract. Like,
That's
crazy.
mad. And obviously, as we know, once he retires from the NBA, there's a good chance he might go golfing for a bit. We all know he's a very good golfer. He took part on the
Web.com tour,
which is
event
the
in Carolina.
G League equivalent of the PGA Tour. And, you know, he was pretty solid. I'm sure if he was playing golf all the time, he'd be nearly PGA Tour level. But look, regardless, I think he's going to be fairly sound financially.
Yeah, I think he's all right now. Never mind in 10 years what he'll be looking at, but I think Curry's doing all right.
Damn. The next one, we've probably talked Kawhi Leonard to death in the nearly 30 episodes or so we've had of this show.
29.
But apparently, Kawhi is entering the quote healing phase with the San Antonio Spurs, which, if it's true, is maybe the most underwhelming ending we could have ever asked for to this story. Killian, is this disappointing?
I don't know, like, I'm trying to think, like, what's the likelihood that nothing ever happened between Kawhi and the Spurs and it was all just media made it up as a story and it got way too far out of hand? Like, I don't think it's that outrageous for a situation like that to happen, and Kawhi was injured. He wasn't risking, a long-term injury that might really affect his basketball career, and he was just going to other places like New York looking for second opinions because he wasn't too sure about it. I don't think it's that outrageous, to be quite honest, that it was all just a media stunt, really.
Yeah, a lot of it, without doubt, a lot of it was just media adding fuel to the fire. But there had to be something there for the media to go on. There's no way it's completely made up that the media says. There's obviously some sort of conflict there between the two sides. But it was only very minor that they just weren't happy.
Maybe
I think the media we said it before while it was going on that there was a chance that the media are just blowing it all out of proportion. And I think that is starting to look like what it is.
But
Kawhi Leonard is in Miami right now, so
Stop it.
with Paul George.
With Paul George as well.
And
Look out, next super team.
there is a chance that LeBron also goes back to Miami.
It's about time Deion Waiters got some help.
What a team that would be, though. Deion Waiters, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. Oh, and then we'd wake up. But, that'd be the dream, wouldn't it? Finally, on this episode, we are going to return to our NBA draft previews, and this time we're going to talk about Villanova's Mikal Bridges. He is a wing. He played, as I said, for Villanova this year. He averaged 17.7 points per game, 5.3 rebounds, and just under 2 assists. So I'll start with you, Alex. What do you make of Mikal Bridges?
We really are starting to get to the stage in this kind of series, whatever, that there's a good chance that these players will do nothing in the NBA, but we're going to break him down for you anyways. He was a pretty good player for Villanova. He won the Julius Erving Award, which, there's been some past... Is the Julius Erving Award that he won?
Yeah.
Yeah, which,
some past winners.
Stars.
Josh Hart, Denzel Valentine, and Stanley Johnson.
Whoa.
Wow.
God damn. He's an MVP already.
Yeah. Look out.
Oh,
yeah, he averaged 18 points, 2 assists, 5.3 rebounds. Pretty good PER, if that means anything in college basketball.
No.
He's good. He's a good
What are you trying to say?
physique for an NBA player. He's 6'7", 200 pounds, 7'2" wingspan. He's not like one of these players that are going to come in and need to put on weight. He's, especially coming out of Villanova, he could be ready to go nearly from the get-go. He's a pretty good shooter. He's pretty athletic as well. So on that alone, he should be able to make an impact on whatever team he goes to. He's got pretty good creating ability, meaning he can make his own shot as well as play off the ball with his shooting. His defense as well as that is good. He's got good instincts. He's good IQ, and he's versatile. So he could be, a solid 3-and-D player, kind of like we've seen with Avery Bradley. A lot of the guys like that, even Klay Thompson, but a bit bigger.
It's certainly interesting looking at his defensive ability. Anyway, he averages a steal and a half and a block per game, and he's only on a turnover and a half a game, which is out of the rookies we've looked at so far. He doesn't turn the ball over that much, but obviously when you've played 3 years in college compared to 1 in the case of most of these top picks, obviously you're going to come out more polished and more adjusted to the college game anyway.
Yeah, he's going to be a good player off the bat. I don't think he has the star potential of the top guys in the draft, like Ayton, Bagley, Doncic, Jackson, whatever. But he will be a very good NBA player. There's no doubt in that.
He does have the ceiling, I think, of a Klay Thompson. He's the same. I believe Klay Thompson is 6'7" as well, the wing. So
yeah, he's the potential, but a very small amount of players reach their full potential. That's really it. He'll be a great 3-and-D player in the NBA. Absolutely brilliant shooter. He shot near enough 45% from 3 on 6 attempts per game in college, which is almost unheard of from guys like that. He shot like 85% from the free throw line. We know he's a good shooter, excellent defender as well. He's great IQ. He's very versatile with his body. 6'7". He's 6'7", 7'2" wingspan. He's very athletic. He'll be a great player in the NBA. Looking at some of the teams in the draft as well, they'll be very happy to pick him up towards the end of the lottery.
Yeah, he could definitely have a strong start. He could hit the ground running. I wouldn't be surprised if he started in a similar fashion to what Kyle Kuzma did this season. He was much stronger than a lot of the rookies, at least for the first half of the season, before the other rookies started to get back into the fold. Obviously, we saw the likes of Lonzo Ball and Josh Jackson much better in the second half of the season. And I think starting off, Mikal Bridges could certainly be up there as one of the best rookies before Christmas, before the All-Star break.
Yeah, it all depends on the situation though, where he goes. Will he get the chance to kind of show what he's made of, or will he just be taking a spot on the bench as one of the kind of rotation guys, come in, make a few shots, play some defense? It all depends on that as well, how many minutes he'll get, how many shots he'll get. Kuzma was getting some decent minutes in the Lakers, getting some good shots, so he could put up good points and rebounds, stuff like that, put up good stats to make him look like one of the best rookies in the draft.
Yeah, right now it looks like he'll go lottery, but it's not certain whether where exactly he'll be. Kind of somewhere between 8 and 11 would be a fair guess to make. Those picks belonging to Cleveland via Brooklyn, New York, Philadelphia via the Lakers, Charlotte Hornets, and the Clippers via the Pistons at 12. So that'd certainly be he could probably fit in nearly any of those teams.
Yeah, but I'm looking at that Sixers at the number 10 pick, and that is absolutely terrifying. He's one of the perfect guys to fit in that Sixers team. Great shooter, great 3-and-D player, and we know the Sixers might lose Bellinelli, Redick, and Ilyasova to free agency this year. So immediately replacing a Bellinelli or a Redick with a guy like Mikal Bridges, great shooter, great defenders, absolutely perfect. He's the kind of guy you need to get in your team to build around Ben Simmons. A floor stretcher who'll play great defense, very athletic, kind of like Robert Covington to an extent, but with a higher ceiling, of course.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that before you said it. Almost identical players, good defenders, good 3-and-D guys, the perfect guys you want in that team. And if you've two of them, if you've your Markelle Fultz, Mikal Bridges, Robert Covington, Ben Simmons, and Joel Embiid, or even replace Robert Covington with LeBron James, then it's a pretty good team, I'd say.
Yeah, LeBron James is a little bit of a step up on Robert Covington.
Slightly.
Yeah.
Rocco's pretty good.
I mean, Covington has better hair, so.
And he's a better defender.
Exactly, and shooter.
And what more do you want in the NBA?
There's only a few more things, like, I'd say Covington's better.
And Ben Simmons is basically LeBron James. You don't need to add LeBron James.
Yeah, obviously. interestingly, over the past couple of days, apparently, two players whose draft stocks are rising seem to be Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr. and Mo Bamba. They were
listening to our breakdowns, and they said,
"Oh, they sound pretty good."
Yeah, maybe their workouts might have, and the draft combine might have had a tiny bit to do with that as well. Mo Bamba, looking at the latest Bleacher Report mock draft, anyway, he could be going third, which would be certainly
Boston are getting him now.
to the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah, it'd be a big step up, considering he looked more like sixth a couple of weeks ago. Jaren Jackson Jr. could also be a top 5 pick now. He kind of looked like he'd be thereabouts. It looks almost certain now. But another player who seems to be falling
The
is
best player in the draft.
Luka Doncic.
Just keep sleeping. That's all I'm saying.
We ain't sleeping. It's the front offices at the NBA that are
Keep
sleeping.
keep sleeping.
He's not athletic enough to play in the NBA. It's that simple.
Neither was Steph Curry.
Nah, he's pretty athletic. Like,
He had average athleticism.
Yes, because he's American.
he's really fast. Like, he's not Westbrook, but he's fast.
Mo Bamba is faster than Westbrook.
That's the only reason why he's that high. People are like, this man is this tall.
And can sprint faster because his average step is probably 7 times the length of Russell Westbrook's.
Seriously though, Luka Doncic, he seems to be falling to 4 or 5, even 6, depending on where you look, which is an absolute disgrace, considering he is one of the greatest EuroLeague players of all time, and if he stayed in EuroLeague for a little bit longer, there would be no doubt about that.
On behalf of Team Eurostep, we are disgraced.
I'm not complaining though. I'd like to see him in Dallas pair up with Dennis Smith Jr. That would be some backcourt. The kind of the athletic freak in Dennis Smith Jr. We know he is an unreal vertical leap, and then the kind of skilled, more composed guy in Luka Doncic. That would be some backcourt for the future.
Well, you never know. The Suns still haven't changed their Twitter back. You know, they still have the little...
That'd be kind of
accent
funny.
over.
After Aiton said, they're drafting me number 1.
Yeah.
Nope.
And it was the Suns' workout with Jaren Jackson Jr. that raised his draft stock. So they are certainly looking. I wouldn't say it's quite written in stone yet that DeAndre Ayton goes number 1 to the Phoenix Suns. Crazier things have happened in the draft.
Yeah. Well, they're always going to work out other guys. You're not just going to work out the one guy and say we're drafting him. You got to work out everyone just to see if they amaze you, surprise you, see how good they are. So it's no surprise that they're working out anyone.
As well as that, the Suns, I believe, worked out Trae Young.
That's not happening.
That's obviously he's not going number 1, but maybe some
Trade
talk around
down.
them trading for either trading their number 1 pick down, which I don't think is going to happen, or them trading maybe some of their other young pieces like a Dragon Bender and Alex Len for a kind of 10, 11 pick, anywhere in that area, maybe to take Trae Young.
Well,
Suns GM isn't Danny Ainge. Come on. Don't know who he is, but it's not Danny Ainge.
Ryan McDonough, I believe, or something like that.
Sounds kind of Irish.
Ryan McD.
you do realise like half the people in America have Irish names. That's just how it goes.
It's the roots.
Yeah, but it's only just about, it's 10 days now to the NBA draft. I, for one, am extremely excited. I'm sure the 2 people in the studio with me are also
Not really.
pretty buzzed.
Yeah, it's whatever, bro. As long as D'Angelo Ball gets drafted.
That'll be the moment of the draft.
Let's
That'll
go!
be all over Instagram. It's like, with the 50th pick, whatever, the
NBA
Lakers draft.
The Los Angeles Lakers select LeAngelo Ball from
Crazy.
Vito Das.
Be some moment.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if any team might go out and buy a pick like the Warriors did last year.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
the
Warriors
Bulls.
by LeAngelo Ball, all the scenes.
That'd be so funny. Could you imagine if the Warriors had or the Bulls had Jordan Bell right now, though? That'd be some team.
No, it wouldn't.
It would. He's a pretty good center.
He's average.
He's
Like,
pretty decent.
they're still
he's
they're
very
still
athletic.
one of the worst teams in the NBA this year.
Oh yeah, but they'd have good potential.
Yeah. I just, man, Jordan Bell's solid. But if if LiAngelo Ball goes to the Golden State Warriors, I think we have to.
LiAngelo
They
Ball
don't
gets
need-
drafted.
They don't need Anthony Davis if they get LiAngelo Ball. I'm telling you that.
I think we could just stop watching the NBA, because if LiAngelo Ball can win a ring with the Golden State Warriors,
If there'll be one game where he gets subbed in garbage time, hits 3 threes, and everyone goes crazy.
He's like that fat guy that comes off the bench for Keno Hills and just hits loads of threes. Everyone goes wild. LiAngelo Ball will literally be that, like just that kid, like
The
that
kid on
that,
the end
that,
of the bench.
that Mr. Salmon that comes in off the bench and just
Oh,
scores and everyone goes wild.
Oh, that was so much fun trying to get him to score.
did he score though?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he did. Everyone went crazy.
I should remember. I was
That was
on
the-
the court with them.
That was the best moment of my basketball career. It
Yeah.
wasn't even me who scored. I don't even think I got the assist.
No. I think it might have been Kieran Key who got the assist. Actually, no, it wouldn't have been him, because he didn't pass. He just chucked it from the
Whoa.
corner.
He's a legend, though.
Yeah, he did it for the memes. Everything is for the memes in this studio and in Castlebar, apparently. We're going to have to leave it there. Thanks to CRC for the studio. Make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. We are Team Eurostep on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. We're also Team Eurostep on Patreon, so if you enjoy our content, please help a brother out. Yeah, so until the next episode, it's going to be goodbye from Gillian, a goodbye from Alex, and a goodbye from me. Until next time,
Supposed to say something.
You're supposed to say something. And go back from Mushing Brown.
goodbye. Keep grinding.